There's an egregious infelicity with assisted suicide being illegal in the United States. Why should a government be able to impose its own religious beliefs upon its citizens, individuals? Should we live under a dictatorship where we can't choose for ourselves how to live or when to cease living? That is why I'm speaking to you today about assisted suicide. The legality of ordinary suicide is hard for me to determine, as I'm a layman. However, according to an article on Mental Health Daily, it states that there are no current laws making suicide illegal. If we were to allow individuals to hang themselves from ceiling fans in their own homes, jump off of buildings, jump in front of trains, or slit their wrists in the hopes of dying, should we not let an elderly man paying thousands of dollars a day the ability to choose to die peacefully in his sleep? Keeping these people alive who wish for death only invites them to try suicide themselves. This can lead to traumatic deaths, giving mental scars for all the family members involved, or it could lead to bad accidents, including shotguns and faces, which will just maim the individual and make those final moments even worse than they already are. With a physician helping, it takes out the guesswork. No more importing illegal and questionable drugs from Mexico. No more scarfing down 100 bananas. No more jumping and splattering across the street in front of pedestrians. Now that I've discussed the contradictions of the legality between ordinary suicide and assisted suicide, I'd like to discuss the cost of living. The cost of keeping a terminally ill patient alive and the care that they need, keeping the pain that they may feel to a minimum, is expensive, as I'm sure you can imagine. But just how expensive is that? According to an article published by CBS News in 2009, they stated that the Medicare had paid over $50 billion in just the last few months of terminally ill patients' lives. And it estimated that 20 to 30% of those costs actually had no real meaningful impact, meaning that no matter what that money was spent on, it wouldn't have mattered in the long run, or short run. With costs this extreme, it only makes logical sense that a government or any large entity would welcome with open arms a solution, a reason to get rid of that spending. Allowing these people to die peacefully, humanely, cuts that expense out. It might not reduce it completely to zero, but a large portion can be reduced. Imagine if that $50 billion, instead of going practically nowhere, went to treating cancer or developing vaccines for other terminal illnesses. The amount of time and money wasted on people that wish to die is far too large to ignore. Finally, I'd like to discuss the issue of freedom. As I'm sure you are well aware, America prides itself on its freedoms. This is America, where you can buy a gun and shoot whoever you want. It's illegal, but you can still do it because you can get guns here. It's one of the few countries that like to exercise those freedoms and pronounce them to the world. Yet, you can't choose when you want to die. Assisted suicide should be legal for that main reason. This country was built upon the belief that you should be able to do what you want, especially religiously. If we continue this trend of going back to medieval times for our laws and our societal stigmas, it's only a matter of time before you live in fear of choosing whether or not you can have a Coke or a Pepsi. Who wants to live that way? I discussed the contradictions of the legality of suicide. I explained how the costs of keeping these people alive who wish for death is exorbitant, and really unnecessary, and I've explained my own personal opinions on how freedom means you should be able to die how and when you want. We as a society should allow these people to kill themselves and have help getting killed. I want you to sign a petition with me to motivate our leaders to act upon this huge disgrace to our society. Act now to keep an old man from going into debt and into squalor. Thank you.